In this video, we will explore important strategies about reorder paragraph in PTE Core reading. Let me tell you a secret about reorder paragraphs. You are not rearranging sentences here. You are doing a reverse engineering the brain of the person who wrote them. Before the test maker shuffle the sentences, they first write a perfect logical paragraph. So your job is not to guess the order. Your job is to reconstruct the original blueprint of the writer's mind. And today I'm giving you the exact process to do that, not the usual find pronounce or look for examples. We are going to do much deeper. We are entering the writer's brain. Think of every paragraph as having four invisible layers. If you understand these layers, you can rebuild any paragraph, even the hardest ones. So let's move on to the layer one first, the seed idea. Every paragraph is born from a simple seed, right? The seed idea is always universal, context giving, not referring backward, not too specific, and it will not be dependent on any examples. Okay, so this is always your first sentence. You learn to identify the seed idea by asking, if I had to explain this topic to a 5-year-old, which sentence gives the simplest first idea? That's your beginning. Okay. Now let's move on to the second layer, the root logic, the why, how, when connection. Writers never jump from idea A to idea Z. No, they follow a root logic, the natural next step from the seed. This step usually justifies the seed, provides evidence, contrast, or explanation, and it uses connective energy, words such as because, in fact, as a result. So the root logic is usually sentence 2. You have to ask yourself, if the first idea is true, what would the writer logically say next? So this is how you make a practical connection. Okay. And the next layer, the layer 3, is the branch development, deepening or expanding. This is where the paragraph grows with examples, data, statistics, case studies, extension, applications, so and so. So, this is often the longest sentence. Here, you need to ask yourself, which sentence feels like the writer is stretching the idea outward. That's your number 3 or number 4 sentence. Okay. And the layer 4 is the canopy closure, the sentence that ends the thought. Yes. Here is the finishing sentence, which has a special feeling. Closed, conclusive, no dangling pronouns, no new idea. Yes. So this often mentions outcomes or the future. It gives the reader a sense of completion. Here you need to ask, if I read this sentence last, would I feel done or not? If yes, then that's your ending. Got it? Now let's move on to an example here. So you can see here five sentences. So you can see here five sentences, and these five sentences are jumbled. Now your job is to arrange it properly to get a proper flow. Okay, so the first A given here is, although these micro recessions seem small, behavioral economists argue that they shape long term productivity more than major lifestyle choices. People often assume that improving efficiency requires big dramatic changes, but research consistently shows the opposite. For instance, opting to check emails at fixed intervals rather than continuously can free up substantial cognitive bandwidth. This shift in focus from major actions to small habits has influenced modern workplace training programs around the world. Instead, the subtle daily decisions individuals make, such as how they schedule tasks, structure their environment, play a far greater role. So now these are the sentences which are jumbled here. Now we will solve this using the writer's blueprint method. Step 1. You have to find the seed idea, which is the layer 1. Which sentence launches the topic from zero? If you read all the sentences, you will identify. Now take your time, pause the video, Try to apply the layers that we have discussed so far, and then you can come up with the proper arranged sentences. Now, I'll tell you, the first sentence should be sentence B. People often assume that improving efficiency requires big dramatic changes, but research consistently shows the opposite. Here, no backward references given. It is very neutral. It introduces a general belief and sets the stage, right? So the first sentence is the B. And second one, find the root logic, which is the layer 2. Here we have to find out which sentence explains or contradicts B logically. So B is the first sentence, right? Now find out which sentence explains or contradicts. So if you see E, instead the subtle daily decisions individuals make, such as how they schedule tasks or structure their environment, play a far greater role. So here, instead, so and so directly contrast the idea in B. Okay, so the second sentence is E. And the third one, here, the third layer, find the branch development. Which sentence expands the idea in E? So if you read the sentences here, sentence A expands the idea in E. Although these micro decisions seem small, behavioral economists argue that they shape long-term productivity more than major lifestyle choices, right? So this one uses these micro decisions referring back to E. Okay, so the third sentence is A. And also, which is adding supporting examples. Still, we are in layer 3, but adding supporting example or reasons. So, sentence C, if you look here, for instance, opting to check emails at fixed intervals rather than continuously can free up substantial cognitive bandwidth. So, for instance, so this is a classic example indicator. So, the fourth sentence is sentence C. And the final one, end with the canopy closure, layer 4. Which sentence wraps it up? Finally, we have only one, which is sentence D. This shift in focus from major actions to small habits has influenced modern workplace training programs around the world. So, this one is broad, conclusive, forward looking, and it mentions the global impact. So, the last sentence is sentence D. So here we have the final answer. Option B is first, E is second, A is third, C is fourth, and D is fifth. Okay. Now let's see some of the advanced psychology for reorder paragraphs. What the test maker is secretly doing here is you need to identify the method becomes unbeatable because you understand the exam writer, not just the sentences. So the secret one is they always hide the topic sentence in plain sight. It will look very ordinary. No statistics, no examples, no strong claims. And the second secret is they often bury the ending in a sentence that talks big. That's a global impact, future consequences, long term outcomes, so on so. And the secret three, they create one trap sentence that sounds like an intro but is actually dependent on another idea. Okay, if you see in our example, A looks like an intro but mentions these micro decisions, right? So that's a trap sentence. And secret four, they ensure exactly one sentence cannot stand alone. Find that and you never pick it first. Okay. And the fifth secret, sentences with this shift, such behavior, it cannot be the first sentence. Yes. Right. So such behavior, this shift, it represents something else, right? Which was referring to another thing. So it cannot be the first sentence. And the secret six is the longest sentence is almost never first. Long equals to developed, then that comes in the middle, obviously. Okay. And there are some of the mistakes that the smart candidates make in PTE Core. Reading too deeply. Yeah, this is not a comprehension. Please don't do that. And choosing by vocabulary. Just because two sentences share the word research doesn't mean they belong together. And ignoring contrast markers, words like however or instead must follow something, right? So you have to look for that carefully. And treating it like guessing. Yes, this is logic, not luck. And spending too long on one question. Yes, decision fatigue destroys accuracy. Use the blueprint and move on. And so remember, you are no longer rearranging sentences, you're reconstructing the mind of the writer. Keep this in mind and come up with high scores. That's all for today's video. Kindly like, share, and subscribe for more PTE code tips. See you in the next video. Bye bye.